All right, our live broadcast has started. Let me let people know in the chat. It started. Please press play if you aren't already and are tired of me talking slowly while I type. All right, so welcome to our Thursday chat. I'm Josh Ledgard, co-founder of KickoffLabs. If you don't know, our product KickoffLabs is a great tool to help you generate leads for any type of campaign with landing pages, opt-in forms, and email marketing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, as it's one of the topics of our chat today. Our chat series is a chance for us to share the knowledge we've acquired running our product and watching what works for our customers and their successful campaigns. Today's chat is again based on questions that have been submitted to us via the chat page. This gives us a chance to be more interactive. I'm hoping that some of the people who ask questions are here today so they can follow questions. And also, if you're on the chat, please sign in, introduce yourself with the chat widget on the page, and give a shout out to your business, and we'll read that, and then we'll read any questions that you might ask that go along with it. So I really hope to do some shout outs today. Selected some questions in advance, people submitted. Like I said, I'd love to cover more. And also on today's chat, as usual, is Izzy. He's a marketing guru here at KickoffLabs, so you'll be hearing from him as well. So say hi, Izzy.
Hi, hey everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And just looking to have more fun as usual during our chats and answering your questions. Go ahead and send them into the chat.
And you know Izzy works in marketing because he's always the one who's on top of having the little bar at the bottom that says who he is. On the page. So anyway, let's see. So let's get to the chat and the first questions right away. So I see we've got a few viewers, at least 10 people now online watching. So that's good. So like we said, just introduce yourself, and we're going to get along to the first question, and we'll take breaks along the way. Let me share my screen to get to the first question. All right, the first, that skipped a couple of, all right, hopefully it doesn't keep skipping slides. The first question is from Elena, who asks the difference between US landing pages and international. Are there any marketing differences that you're aware of? For example, we tried to create landing pages for Russia, but received no conversions. So this is a good question. So we get people, there's a couple of things to the question. We get people all the time that ask, can you create landing pages in multiple languages? And yeah, that's kind of the easy part. We let you create landing pages in multiple languages. There's some things that we recommend when you do that. So let's say you've got a landing page for your, let's say you're doing an ebook download and you've got two languages, you've got a Russian version and you've got an English version. You should create both pages separately. They should obviously each be in the native language, and there should be a cross-link between the pages. So if somebody prefers the English version, there should be a little link, usually in the corner, that links you to the English version of the page. So you publish them at separate addresses. That way you can market them separately. You cross-link between the pages so that the pages are linked together. And the other thing you do is the follow-up email should also be a separate campaign so that you can address them specifically in their native language. So if you've got a follow-up email that delivers the ebook and somebody signed up on a Russian page, they should receive it in Russian versus English page. They should receive the follow-up email in English. All that seems to make sense, but it's amazing how many people kind of miss some of those just basic things first. Let's assume that that Elena's covered the basics and they've tried to create landing pages for Russia but received no conversions. There are a lot of reasons that you might not have any conversions, and I don't think it's specifically the language that the page is in or the fact that you have two languages. But I tend to think the biggest reason that people typically don't get conversions is not understanding or not bringing the right traffic and not understanding the audience, the subtle differences in their particular audience in that market. And so what I mean by that is there might be some places, there might be some communities that you're marketing your English landing pages to that work really well for English speakers getting people in. But if you don't find those similar communities that you're marketing the landing pages in Russia to, you just might not be there. Another reason might be just simply be, let's say you're running AdWords. The campaign that you're marketing to in English might work really well for English speakers, but maybe those keywords don't get searched, or maybe your keywords aren't set up properly for the Russian language or for Google Russia, where you're getting people clicking through. And so that kind of tells you, like, hey, are you getting the right traffic? Are you even attracting the people that would sign up to your page? Of course, there are subtle cultural differences between different cultures. Some cultures hate filling out forms more than others. I don't particularly think that that Russians fit that profile, but something that would be helpful perhaps for you, if you are getting a decent amount of traffic and you do believe the traffic is coming from the right keywords on the right pages, and you have somebody available who speaks Russian, would be to put a chat widget on the site. So go to Olark or Chat. There's a couple other chat services I'm forgetting at the moment. We use Olark on our site, that's why it comes to mind. Put in the Olark on the landing pages, and when somebody visits the site, pop up a chat and say, hey, why would you, in Russian, why would or wouldn't you sign up for this page? And perhaps you'll start finding out that, hey, there's misspellings, there's bad grammar in this version of the page. I was really just looking for the English version. There's all sorts of reasons why somebody might not sign up, and it just, you have to first look at the traffic and how you're getting there, and if you are getting good quality traffic, you have to look at you have to get more specific and talk to the individual person in that market. So, Izzy, is there anything you wanted to add to what I said?
You have some really, really good points about how cultural differences might have some kind of effect on when you're testing out different markets and even different markets in different countries, but even different markets like in different niches. So you do have to be aware of what attracts your customer. Off the top of my head, I'm actually thinking that maybe, I'm not sure if this applies to Russia, but in the European Union, I do know that they have like anti-spam laws, so that might have something to do with just people not wanting to be so eager to sign up. And I wanted to show you just a quick landing page, actually.
Go for it.
I got a kick out of. Which I got a kick out of because it just shows. Actually, I'll be writing up a post on this sometime soon. But check this out. This is a landing page for Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan. And just to show how big of a cultural difference, it is from American landing pages to Russian landing pages. Just about anywhere in the world, there's going to be either subtle or very large differences. So in this page, we're seeing it's, there's no sign-up form. There's a lot of stuff going on. Your focus is being thrown just about everywhere on the page, and there's no sign-up form. Like I said, there's no sign-up form. They're just things to like and to share on Twitter, on Facebook. So it just goes to show how different cultures require different kinds of landing pages. That's pretty much my idea. But there are ways of optimizing. Josh went through several ways of properly optimizing for targeting those other countries.
All right,
Josh,
so we
got
got
to go ahead and continue with the next question.
Yeah, so I added in this question while you were chatting. So
Great.
guest startup who's on the chat says just
Oh,
starting up with enterprise security solution and the first product isn't ready yet. Best advice for creating a page just designed to capture corporate network staff interest rather than pure conversions. So that's a really good question,
mhm.
I've got two ideas and two suggestions for this. The first is I would still just have a basic page for your product that explains what it is and tries to get interest that you can use for general campaigns that you might do with advertising within communities. But something that you might do to differentiate that page from an unreleased product as an enterprise security solution is, especially if you're trying to get corporate network staff interest, and you're targeting sort of the not the senior level staff in those areas, but maybe the mid to junior level staff, depending upon who you're targeting. You might think about doing it more as signing people up for some enterprise security webinars. And so you'd set up a page, your product page, but your pitch isn't to get them to sign up for a pre-release or anything yet. Your pitch is, hey, we're going to start giving you advice on enterprise security. We're going to set up a webinar. We're going to talk about your thing. You could do just what we've done, is set up a page and say, ask your security question here, and that guarantees you'll have questions in advance. You can prepare a little bit in advance, unless somebody just asks a question live like this, and you've got to think about the answer on the spot. But if you do this, then if you do that, then what you'll find is you can then really exploit the sharing, because on the sharing side of it, you can say, hey, invite your team. So you can make it, you can make it a team event and get your team members on the training as well, and on the webinar that you're doing as well. And that way, you might grab 3 or 4 people from the same department might come to your class, and I would market specifically to larger companies in those departments. You might target them on LinkedIn. You might target them on other networks, or communities where people talk about enterprise security online. And I would really pitch it as an educational event first, and then you're capturing this interest. And the follow-up emails, and in your webinar, you can kind of talk about your product for pre-release sort of at the end of the webinar, and in the follow-up emails to get people jazzed about it and point them to a general sign-up page. So that's my advice: is focus more on for people who have like a really niche audience like this, and they're solving a kind of a really B2B problem and aren't very close to B2C at all. Is really to think about what education they can give away. And I think in the corporate space, if you're giving some free training, I think that has an immense amount of value, and you're going to capture a lot of email addresses if you're able to give away some free training with some of your own sweat equity. Izzy?
Exactly, Josh. Actually, offering that free value is immensely going to help it's going to help build your reputation, your credibility, especially in the B2B space. It does take a lot of legwork. It does take a lot of maybe cold calling people, just linking up with people, networking. But yeah, I mean, offering free value, because there's big companies like Oracle just like comes to mind. But these are companies that offer clunky solutions, somewhat outdated. They're they do have training sessions, but they could cost well into the thousands of dollars. So offering just that free value and free education is really going to help you stand out in that space.
All right. Thanks, Izzy. We'll move on to the next slide, or the next question. So this is from Vignesh. He says, what incentive could I provide for a free unlaunched game? And there was a follow-up here that says, why would someone be interested in unlocking a character or something if they don't know the game yet? I can insert screenshots or a video of gameplay, but is that enough? And then there was actually some more to the question where they asked this technical question about how they could know if somebody'd sign up to enable the extra character. And yeah, you do see that. So you sort of see that at the next level. So there's 2 levels. And I think the reason he's asking this question is because you'll see oftentimes in the video game space where if somebody pre-purchases or pre-orders a game, then they get a code with the pre-order box that they can enter in and unlock the character. And that's certainly a way you could do is when they sign up, you could give them a code and say anybody with this code can unlock the character. But I view that as something that A, it takes a lot more effort to do, and B, the reason that they're giving away that much value in terms of this extra character is because you've actually put down money and given them a pre-order and not just signed up and said that they're interested. I think at that level, if you've got an unreleased game, you've got the advantage of leverage in terms of that video and gameplay footage, and I think that's a much more simple solution to say, hey, enter your email address and unlock, our trailer for the game. In this space, especially in the B2C space, there's a lot of value in that cool. People share things and want to sign up for things that they perceive as cool and that they want to tell their friends about and say, hey, I saw it first. And that's enough incentive when you're not asking for someone to purchase, especially like you said, it's a free game. It's not launch. You're not asking for a purchase. You don't need as much of an incentive. So I wouldn't work on over-engineering the opt-in bribe with that. It's certainly something you could do, but I would look more at leveraging and starting out by just the simpler solution of leveraging a special trailer or this exclusive screenshots or something like that is what I would start with first. Izzy?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much simplifying your incentive. Actually, I'm looking for a page that I wanted to share as well of a customer of ours who's releasing a game as well. One sec, I'll go ahead and share this. This is just one example. Okay, so this is just one example of a customer who's using somewhat of a giveaway format for offering a year, a 1-year subscription to their online game. I'm not sure if the game that Vinesh was asking about is mobile or not, Josh?
Yeah,
or maybe just.
I don't think he was, but given the price of free, my guess is that it's mobile.
Okay, so I mean, just kind of focusing on an easy incentive, because I mean, when you kind of overcomplicate it by unlocking characters and certain parts of the game, it just becomes a little too complicated. That's kind of more of a mechanism that works well for Kickstarter and for crowdfunding, like offering perks and stuff. But I don't think it'll work 100% well for getting fast signups, basically. And I can't seem to locate the other page now. Let's see if I can locate it in the next minute or so. Josh, if you'd like to continue with the questions.
No problem. I'll go to the next question. All right. Do you have any special advice for Mrs. Dara, who asks, do you have any special advice for website courses? So I'm assuming that that by website courses, Dara, if you're on the chat, you can tell me I'm wrong. I'm assuming for website courses, you're thinking along the lines of what we do for landing pages 107. So to kind of give an example of what that means to other people, if I were to go to our own course, this is the landing page for our own course, landing pages 107. So it's a free email course to learn landing page fundamentals. We'll tell you, you get the first class, which will teach you about uses for landing page, launching, calls to action, promotion. So I think about first, what can you give away ahead of what people sign up? And I think we could actually probably stand to give away more if I was critiquing our own page before somebody signs up. So you give away some value first. And then the second thing is a bit of the instant gratification. So as soon as somebody signs up, we actually send them the link to the first video. And so you get that immediate follow-up. And this immediate follow-up email has the highest open rate of any email. So you have to make this experience really strong to say, what are the, what's the first thing I want to do, and can I, use it as a chance to do some branding of my own and throw in what I'm doing and get people back to my website. So in this case, you'll see the very first course you get is the Essentials. It's this 7-minute video that talks about using landing pages. And then we try and pull people back to, hey, I want to build pages like this, and pull them back to the product, because this is our biggest chance to get people back into the product, because we get about 45 to 50% of the people open the initial email. The next 3 or 4 emails are also critical. So the next 3 or 4 emails that we send people on a course get between 30 to 35% open rate. But once you're at email 5, you sort of you'll lose some people. And we send an email, we send 10 emails, we send 1 a day, and at 5 or halfway through, and we've lost, we'll lose another 40% of our audience, and the open rates will go to 20 to 30% for those last 5 emails that go out. And you can really see the drive. Like, it'll spike at the first email. Some people unsubscribe. The people who are interested will watch the video. It'll level off for the next few days. So you've got about 5 days to really grab people's attention with your message and your hook. And then after the 5th day, it stays consistent. It levels off around 20 to 30%, and whatever your percentages are, you can imagine those levels are going to happen. You might start out higher. You might do a better job at an open rate than we are, but you're going to get prime attention the first email, secondary attention the next like 4 or 5. After that, you're just on. The people who are really hooked and listening will keep watching, and the other people are not going to open another email from you. So really provide the biggest bang for the buck up front, and then also the biggest calls to action for people to take the action that you want them to take on your specific website. The other thing is, we have this dedicated page, but we promote this in just about all over our own site. So we use an opt-in widget. So if somebody's on the marketing site, we've done the pop-up, in the corner down here. That works pretty well. We're currently trying the exit widget that pops up when you try and exit the page, where you can see, hey, sign up now. It's 100% free. Get the first lesson now, which is again that instant gratification. And when they do it, they'll get the email course, and hopefully we won't be popping this up again for them. And so that's my biggest advice is immediate gratification, a good pitch in the first email, and then imagine that you've got 4 to 5 days or emails to really grab their attention to a call to action. After that, you start to really tail off your audience. So the early thing is critical. The early few are critical to deliver the most value. We used to deliver our course over 30 days, the same number of emails, and what we found is we did a much better job delivering the value closer together, where we just delivered the value every day. The open rates improved as opposed to spacing them out every 3 days, because I thought we'd be nice and we'd space out the emails, but people had a problem. They wanted the course for a reason, so we figured we'd just give all of the emails out in a shorter amount of time up front. Izzy, anything you'd like to add?
Well, you pretty much nailed it, Josh. Just focusing on really good call to actions. The question is, do you have any special advice for website courses? I mean, just focusing on writing the best possible copy as well, making sure that there's no kind of no kind of typographical errors, no kind of page errors, because if your website is about teaching somebody, you're not gonna. If you have errors on your page, or if something looks funky on your page, the trust factor is, it just might drop down a little bit. So just focus on creating a great looking, either website course or email course, writing great copy, and including clear call to action in every email, because as Josh said, you will get drop off after about half the course. So that's pretty much my advice. We have another question, Josh, that came in from guest 787. He's asking that he's also starting up in the B2B space, but they're Okay, but they're recruiting tech co-founders, asking what are the best practices to actually build and host a simple page at low cost to indicate interests in either the beta, the job, or the co-founder. Maybe I don't understand the question completely, but I'm sure we can give them a nice solid answer.
Yeah, so let me actually just put that up on the board. So.
Great.
So since you're at the chat, it'd be great to know, it sounds like, I'm assuming when I read the question, and here as you read the question, that you are talking about, you have three separate needs, sort of. You're interested in people that would be potential for the customer, which would be interested in the beta. You have jobs, because you're starting up and you have jobs that are available. And then you have you're recruiting separately for a co-founder. Am I right that you have kind of three separate goals there when you ask the question, or is your customer? Are you really just saying your customer is tech co-founders? I'm going to assume until I hear back on the chat that you have three separate goals here, which is what a lot of people do. On the page, or a lot of people in this situation have, is they say, I'm starting up, but I'd also be interested if people want a job, or if they're interested in being a co-founder. I'm going to tackle the first thing about the sign. Your primary goal, you need to pick which one of these three is most important to you. And I would have your main landing page be dedicated just to that. So I think probably most important to you is got to be, should be getting customers who would potentially pay you. So it'd be interest in the beta. For that, I'd say it's really simple. So we can do this at KickoffLabs for you. We do this is kind of one of our bread and butter areas. We do this kind of sign up for interest in the beta. We can set up and say when you get 3 people signed up, we'll send you an invite. We can do the referral tracking, and we can do a great job on that page for you. And you don't need much than a logo, a description, some form of an opt-in bribe. If you want to give something away other than just the interest in the beta, and I would really focus your primary aspect of the page on pitching the product and encouraging people to sign up, because that's actually your best pitch for the job or the co-founder. Because anybody who wants to work for you or with you is got to be somebody that's really interested in that problem. So if you do a great job at communicating the problem, then you'll do a better job of communicating to the potential applicant or the co-founder. Now, for the job, I would recommend a landing page that's a secondary page off of the same domain, and this is something that again you can build with KickoffLabs, and we host the pages and can do the referral piece of it. I would have a link below on the main page. It says interested in working with us, go here, and it brings them to a second page which has more specifics about what you're looking for, the job, because if they're interested enough in what you've said, they'll click through to the second page, and you can then capture their information on that second page. I would also, in the follow-up email that gets sent, and KickoffLabs can send that follow-up email for you, I would say in the follow-up email that gets sent about the beta, the primary thing should be, hey, share this first, but secondarily, are you interested in working with us? Click here, take them to the second page as the secondary side of it. And I would focus primarily on the jobs that you're looking for. I don't think I've heard too many cases where people have found their technical co-founder this way. I think most of the success stories I've heard with people finding technical or non-technical co-founders has actually been more about networking locally in their area, networking within their network online. You might get lucky. I'm not saying it can't work, but I think the focus has to be on first pitching the business to potential customers, second pitching the jobs that you have on a job page, or the type of work that you need. So perhaps you need a developer, not really just a technical co-founder, and then you might get lucky and find the co-founder through that. I wouldn't be actively advertising, hey, I'm looking for a co-founder on the main web page. You might mention it on the job page. So hopefully that answers your question. It's a really good question, and I think people often realize they have so many needs as a startup. They try and cram sort of all 3 or 4 calls to action on the page, and it always ends up better to pitch the problem, talk about your solution, and get interest from customers. And the rest, if you do a great job at that, will work itself out. And that's a great oversimplification, I imagine, and especially the way it feels. But you know, the best pitch that I probably heard for a co-founder, for finding a co-founder one time when I was out, was somebody said, "Hey, I've got 5,000 people signed up for this product. I just need to build it." And to me, that was the best pitch for a co-founder you could have, because it's like, hey, all right, the hard part is done. You've built an audience, and I would focus on that. So, Izzy, do you have any comments?
Well, finding a technical co-founder is infinitely difficult. There's tons and tons of articles that you can find online. I'll actually go ahead and throw in some links of some essays that Paul Graham has written that I personally like, which actually does kind of talk about how to find your co-founders, how to find your users. But that's kind of more the theoretic way of doing it. But KickoffLabs does offer you tools to build and to host your simple page at a very, very reasonable cost, and with that added benefit that we have that viral referral boost, which you could use to help acquire users while you're looking for your co-founders, while you're looking for your dev team. You're still taking advantage of your time and still building your audience in the process.
Yep. And I'll add, so he followed up and said, yes, it is the 3 separate goals. So at least I was right about answering the question. Do these types of pages, and I'll get into showing you how we can do it on KickoffLabs later. That's a great intro. I just want to make sure we get to everyone's questions first, without sitting here pitching our product too much. But do these types of pages gauge interest work even when you're not giving something away? Yeah, if your goal is to gauge interest, people often think the page is the test. There's really 2 tests in setting up these pages. The page is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a test whether or not you can convince people that land on your page that you have a problem worth signing up for. And if you don't want to give away something, yeah, you're really just gauging, are people interested in solving this problem? And that can work, and it tests both whether or not people are interested, and importantly, whether or not you're able to build a convincing case for them to sign up, because that problem is going to perpetually be with your business for as long as it exists. Now, the other part of the test is really the part that we don't help as much with, is that marketing of it and seeding the audience to the page. And that's really a test as well, because if you're not able to find places to advertise, if you're not able to find places to promote and get visitors, that kind of tells you, well, maybe people aren't as interested in solving this problem as I thought they were. And I think that's okay as a test, to build this simple page, to have it up there, and to see if you're able to drive traffic to it is even a level of measuring the interest. If you know that you spent only $100 in Facebook ads and you've gotten a few hundred signups, that's a great indication that you've found a potential problem. If you know that you spent $100 in Facebook ads, you've gotten 2 people to sign up, it could be a problem with how you're pitching the problem in the ad. It could tell you that there's really not much interest in the problem. And so yeah, I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of effort on the page and the bribe just to gauge interest. And we'll show you how that can be done really quickly later. All right, so next question.
Josh, we actually had a question come in from Herbie. I don't know if you saw that question.
I did. So any plans with integration with socially oriented CRMs or other CRMs? We use Nimble. Any plans for that? I always
actually prior to that, he was actually asking how exactly does referral generation work?
So I'll demonstrate both of that later. I've got kind of a demo plan for that. So I'll demonstrate the referral generation, how we do it, and then to answer the question about integration with socially CRMs. I hear about new products every day. I hadn't actually heard about Nimble. It's possible. I can't. And the same thing with with the referral service you had. We have a generic way to notify services of new signups through webhooks. It's possible that just works with the service. It does with some other services. And then we're always looking for new integrations to build, and that's one of our next focuses on the product now that we've shipped this version, is expanding our integrations. So let me go on to the next non-product related question. What is the biggest bang for the buck in launching the first social media campaigns on a bootstrap budget? And this is a great question. So I did write out sketch out some answers for people. And I hear this all the time, like, I don't have much of a budget. What's the biggest bang for the buck that we can do to spend the budget on? I think the first thing you can do is you can easily set up landing pages and campaigns yourself pretty quickly with our tool or another tool, and I'll talk about that later. But then the next biggest bang for the buck is how you get the audience to the page without spending a ton of money, and that's really what people ask for a lot. So my first thing would be advertising. I see a huge return, and we see a big return at KickoffLabs for a very limited amount of money spent on retargeting. So people that come to your campaign or your page that don't sign up right away, if you can start tracking them with a tool like Perfect Audience or AdRoll, then that's a great way to market to them later, and you're able to follow them around the internet. So for better or worse, I was shopping for home improvement stuff last week, and now toilets are following me around on Facebook and everywhere, and trying to get me to click on them. So my Facebook feed has literally gone to the crapper. But I'm reminded every day that I need to buy a toilet, so it does work. And again, Facebook ads tend to be, we hear from startups all the time, they tend to be buying ads directly on Facebook because you can target a very strong niche. And I hear the same thing about LinkedIn, which I mentioned later as a separate audience, that because you can get really specific in terms of the groups that they're a member of, in terms of their preferences, it's a great ad spend if you're going to spend money. Google ads work. They are just expensive, especially if you're in a crowded space. So that's why I mentioned non-Google ad networks. So Bing, as an alternative, the ad rates are significantly cheaper. And especially if you're just starting out or you've got the size of campaign, you're going to reach a large enough audience with Bing ads. Native within niche communities, I talk about this all the time. So if your audience lives somewhere online, go find them and advertise directly within that community. Buying ads direct from a community tends to be much cheaper than going through a display network, and also you can be a lot more targeted that way as well. People often ignore including current leads. So if you already have a mailing list, the most successful ones of our customers promote their new campaigns to their entire existing mailing list. They included them in the promotion, and they make it special for them. So they say if you've signed up before and you sign up new people, we're gonna give you a special reward. So you can't ignore even if you just have 500 people signed up on your mailing list in your audience, you can't ignore leveraging those people for your campaign, because they can become ambassadors for your brand, and you have to make every effort to turn them into that. Contests. It doesn't have to be expensive. I don't know what type of campaign specifically Chris was talking about, but it just has to be cool and worth sharing. So, and I should have added related to your audience. I've given this advice before. I wouldn't recommend running a contest and just giving away an iPad. I would give away a set of things that are related to your specific audience, so that way you know that the people signing up are signing up because they're interested in the value that directly impacts their lives, rather than just trying to get a bunch of contest people signed up that want to win an iPad. Viral sharing. We see, even outside of contests, 35% more leads for people that turn it on as opposed to not having it turned on. And that's without any added incentive, just making it easy to share after somebody signs up. So if you want to make that $100 turn into $135 worth of advertisements, that's a great way to make sure that your campaigns have the sharing and ideally some reward for the sharing as part of it. I also think, especially if you're a small or even a larger audience, co-promotion can be a giant bang for the buck. And so we've seen this with some e-commerce sites recently where they'll do a promotion with 3 or 4 other e-commerce sites, and the goal is to educate each other's audience about your potential product. Even if your audience is smaller, grouping together a bunch of smaller audience can amplify everybody's impact. And so thinking about opportunities to co-promote, co-present, co-giveaway, co-contest, co-market, co-email, whatever it is, find a way to grab an audience that's not yours but related to yours and let them know about what you have is a huge bang for the buck. And then I always mention this as well, so of course your time is money, but sweat equity. Identify your audience online. So the way to do this is take 10 of your current customers and just profile them. Go to their LinkedIn profiles, go to their Facebook profiles, and I'll show you how to make this easier in a minute. Go to where they hang out online, find those communities, and get engaged with people in those communities online. So that's, you can answer questions there. You can promote to them. You could buy direct ads in those communities, like we mentioned before. But doing some understanding of your audience and going to those places where they hang out that isn't your site online, and getting them there. So that said, Izzy, did you have anything else for bang for the buck before I get into my next leading question?
That was actually an awesome response on your part. I just want to back up the fact that Josh knows exactly what he's talking about, because he puts all of that into practice. All of those steps are steps that Josh, that our co-founders Josh and Scott have taken to build KickoffLabs from the ground up into what we are today. And we have a great community behind us. We have great customers who love our service, who love our platform. So just to reinforce, Josh knows exactly what he's talking about, and it works. It works.
All right. So this is kind of a leading question, and then Herbie asked some other questions about our affiliate campaigns. And so I wanted to do a little bit of a demo. So Prakash asked how to manage multiple landing pages well. And so I want to show a little bit about our product today. Now that we've launched about a week ago now, the next version of our product. And it used to be we tied everything around single campaigns, single landing pages. So emails were tied to a single landing page. If you wanted 3 or 4 different landing pages up, they were all going to different email lists. You had to set up separate email lists. So that was actually one of the first things we wanted to address, is make it so that you could have forms and pages all going to under the same campaign. So now we've reorganized how KickoffLabs is built around the concept of a campaign. A campaign can hold multiple landing pages. So let's look at our usage, for example. I showed earlier our landing pages 107 course. And so if I went in here, you can see that the 2 pages associated with this campaign are both within that campaign. Let me hide the chat announcement today. So you can see that the essentials, the video, the first one, and I could view stats there, and I could also view and edit the page directly on for landing pages 107 as well, so I could view that information. I could edit that page directly there. And then you've got, on the campaign level, going back up a level, so the campaign emails are all under the campaign, not under a specific landing page, so you can set up your automatic reply, you can set up the email settings, you could set up the influencer email, which is the email that goes to people that have shared, and you can connect your list of your each campaign to, say, a MailChimp list, or a Zapier list or a Aweber list, and then you can view reports. So you can see their reports across the campaign. You can set up status reports and notifications just for that campaign, and not worry about, did I add 5 opt-in forms or pages to the campaign. So that's the first big. That's probably the most visible and obvious change, which is going to lead us to a bunch of additional changes down the road related to this is just the ability that you could have 10 different landing pages, 5 different opt-in forms for using different text for different pitches, all pointing back to the same email list. And this was a big customer requested feature for us. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to show is a little bit about one of my favorite new features, which is the Any Form widget. So actually, first, let me actually just go in for the demo. So Herb asked, or one of the guests asked how easy it was to set up pages. So I've got this demo campaign here. Let's say I just want to add a new landing page. I don't think I've ever actually shown this this process on a chat, and hopefully it keeps working. So awesome launch, and I'm going to pick a theme here for the awesome launch page, and I'll pick this template. Just a simple flat dark template. You can kind of see an example of it here, and I'll edit the page. You can kind of see I've got this basic page. There's no background. I could just go ahead and select a background image here. Let me just pick this one. Oops, that's the wrong background image. Select image. There we go. So I picked that one, and it's covering this guy's face. So let me change the page layout to the other side. Move it over a little bit, and you can kind of see it's a little bit better there. And then I can take this. And I can say, I can see what happens when you sign up. So this is that first view of the virality. This is built into all kickoff pages. So we generate the share link, and this is unique to everybody that signs up, and then generate these share buttons. And you can control the text of the buttons, what gets shared on Facebook through KickoffLabs, and control all of that stuff through here. And then when I publish the page, let's assume I finished all my copy and I publish the page. You can see the page is actually now live right out here, and it's really easy to hook it up to your own domain. I'm not going to go through those steps, but if you have your own domain, we make it easy just to set up the page on your own domain and to go make that work smoothly. And we actually offer concierge service for paying customers to just do that for you. So as much time as you can come up with a quick pitch and some copy around it, you could have a page up. And we can help you publish your domain. So the whole process, less than an hour to get things up and running. And so we've always had landing pages like this, but there's a need to get some of that juice from your existing website as well, or any other site that you want. And so one of my favorite features is called the Any Form widget. So if I were to go create a new opt-in form. With KickoffLabs, you can see we've got some different styled opt-in forms now in V3. Just a basic developer one, which you could style yourself if you've got designers. A more styled bootstrap one, one with some custom styles, and then this one called the Any Form widget, which basically takes any page you have and makes it a KickoffLabs form and wires it up to KickoffLabs to add that virality to it. So just a really basic example. Let me just show you that. The editor is kind of similar. There's some messages. You can change the confirmation. You can change the share template. This is just a sample form it's wired up to. And you can see if I clicked that, you'll get the thank you for signing up. The real interesting thing, though, is let's say you've got a designer built you this custom page that you want to use to sign up. And this custom page here, custom page, let me take this off, isn't wired up to anything yet. There's no form. You can see it's actually just running locally on my machine. You could just give your designer the code for the Any Form widget. So I could just take the code and they can drop it onto the page if they were to take that there and say, let's see, take that code from here and just drop it onto this page. And this is the code behind the page, so you'd have your designer, or we can do it for you guys if you need help. And once you drop that code on the page, and I reload the page here, and I go and I sign up. And cross your fingers, the demo gods are with me, and they are. You can see that it's now, and we can change the effect and the style of what happens, but basically you get the idea. This really basic pop-up box comes up with the sharing widgets, same as before with the virality that goes in here. We'll track anybody that uses those widgets. And so that the person is now in our system. We've also sent them an email, which I'll show you now. So if I were to say new sign up. So you can see the email automatically went out with the sharing links. This is on the demo forms, demo pages and forms email. I didn't change any of the default text. It's got the sharing links right in here, the link back to the URL, which would be whatever page the person signed up on. In my case, it's this really long one for my file system. And then we sent, this went out to the person that signed up. In this case, it was me. But then we also sent a sign-up mail, a notification mail, say, hey, somebody just signed up, here's what they had to say. And you'll notice that there were the first name and last name was on the form, and we capture that, we put that in the notification mail that goes out. It goes out to you for letting you know that somebody signed up. And then once they're there, you can click through that email and you can see some more details about somebody that signed up. So I guess Scott likes my demos, and he signed up earlier. And so you've got email, which of course we collected. We show you rank, what number they signed up at. Links to social profiles, so I can actually click through and see Scott's Twitter profile and learn some more about him. And notice I didn't ask for Scott's Twitter profile when he signed up. This is just information we show you on the lead card page, which is another one of my favorite new features. We'll show you the campaign data that if there was any that was passed from Google or any other location. We'll show you what form in your campaign they were added from, and you get a ton of information. We pull up different profile pictures that we're able to find online, so you get a sense of maybe what the person looks like online, and then you'll see that information is also in the all leads report, so you can see my card is here. Weren't able to find a good profile picture for me. I guess I hide myself better than Scott online, but we're able to find, we're able to find my LinkedIn information. And so when I talked about profiling your customers earlier, this is one of the ways that we make it really easy. You've got somebody that already signed up. You can click on them and say, hey, what could I learn about this person? Well, they're from the greater Seattle area. They've got a background in computer software. They're a founder. Here's the company they work for. Here's the summary on their LinkedIn page. You can see their past work experience. This is a treasure trove of information that we get just by finding their LinkedIn profile and reporting that back. So you can start building and saying, hey, what groups is this person a member of? And so you might be interested in looking at their skills, and then somewhere down below it'll show you on LinkedIn the groups that they're a member of. It's like, oh, the Seattle area startups. Maybe I should pitch my product to the Seattle area startups group. And you can start advertising within LinkedIn directly to these groups, or you could go join those groups yourself. So I think it's a tremendous amount of value that some people overlook in terms of information they can learn about their customers. Because once you learn that information about a customer, you can start making your pitch better, and you can start tailoring your pitch specifically to what people have. And so hopefully that was my quick demo for today. Hopefully it's something that you guys can leverage and use. I think it's a great example of how you can just take any page out there, turn it into a wired up form, and get a ton more information about your customers. Turn that form viral, and get some more bang for your buck in terms of what you're doing. That is my quick little pitch, and I think there were a couple other follow-up questions here. So see.
We had Timothy actually ask if his product is more of a general product, meaning that it's meant to be used by everybody, like a web tool. How do you get it out to communities and to niches?
Yeah, so we face the same challenge at Kickoff Labs. There's all sorts of uses for Kickoff Labs. I think, but I also think that is something where there is no product that is truly just only a general product. There's an audience that you probably resonate better with in most cases than others. And so you look at our pitch, and so we're currently saying the quick and easy way to grow your audience online. And that's a really general pitch to a really, really large audience. But as they start going down the page, we start trying to narrow, excuse me, we start trying to narrow that down, saying, well, what are we? What are we calling smarter campaigns? Well, it's this set of tools. Okay, so that's still a really general set of tools. People need in marketing need landing pages, opt-in forms, viral boost, insights. But then we get more specific and say, who are we really for, and how can you use us? And I think you have to pick, 2 to 3 of the best use cases for your product and really blow them out and say, with content online, say, hey, what's a landing page for startups? So if startups you can use the product, and we've talked a bit about that today in a startup use for Kickoff Labs, what is the benefit to that specific startup? Well, as we showed, you can get your page up today. We do the viral boost. You can test your marketing ideas, engage your audience, get to know your audience, which is something we showed, and then using the opt-in forms if you want to. But if you look at the same set of tools but pitched differently for for digital agencies, the pitch is not about getting a landing page up today. It's getting client results faster. And so that's the same story. It's getting the landing pages up quickly, but it's pitched to them saying, hey, for you, you'll deliver as an agency value to your clients faster with our landing pages and opt-in forms. You can have, this is a different feature, wasn't there? You could have multiple clients there. Here's a quote from an agency. And you can put, notifications and status reports. You can set those up for your clients. And it's looking at each of those use cases and really thinking, I know, for example, that people who run agencies and campaigns for other people use Kickoff Labs very differently than startups use Kickoff Labs for. And it has to be explained in your marketing, pitched specifically still to each of those audiences, and then thought through the balances and trade-offs of trying to build the product that serves both needs. And hopefully the next version, this version of Kickoff Labs we've released, does that. But it is a challenge, and I think my best answer for that is you still have to narrow down. You still have to pick where you're going to focus your time on. There's a million other examples of customers that we could put in this benefits for, but we've really decided to focus. Hey, let's just focus on these key scenarios of startups, agencies, people doing contest pages has been popular enough because of the viral sharing to warrant being up here, and then e-commerce sites of people setting up an e-commerce site, or even just capturing leads on their e-commerce site, running contests for their e-commerce site, learning more about the people that sign up. And you really have to get specific and pitch to each member of the audience. Izzy, is there anything you wanted to cover?
Sure, thanks. Well, actually, I do know that Tim, his product is a Chrome extension. So I mean, it will take a little bit of work on his part to kind of to identify who his target market is. It is kind of kind of widespread, but maybe. Well, I have some tactical suggestions. Would be finding out who your competitors are in the space. Just visiting the Google Chrome store, well, the Google Play Store, I think is what it's called. Find out who your competitors are in the space. See where their users are coming from. There are ways to kind of play with the system and kind of leverage the most powerful players in the space and kind of take away their audience. We have some posts that kind of direct how to leverage other people's audiences, but it's pretty specific. His use case is actually very, very specific. So it will take a little bit knowing his market and just doing a little bit of the work as well.
Thanks, Izzy. I just realized hopefully everybody was actually able to see the demos I was doing. I didn't have it on Izzy the whole time, the camera, but I think people could see the demos. Anyway, I think I did quite enough of a pitch for Kickoff Labs. If you haven't tried us out, go to kickofflabs.com, sign up. If you haven't upgraded, upgrade, and we could chat more specifically about your use for the tool and how we could help you specifically. So stay tuned next week. We'll have another chat. We'll announce what that's going to be about shortly. And keep growing your audience online, folks. So talk to you later. Bye.